Why do they care so much about our teeth? This is a question I've always asked. Why does our government care about our teeth? Doesn't care about us. Think about what the government has made you and your family go through in terms of, dare I say, chemicals and vaccines. Mandatory, without any say on your part whatsoever. But why is it that there's such a fascination about fluoride and your teeth? They care about my teeth. They don't care about anything else. 5G, Wi-Fi, that doesn't matter. I could go down the list. Geoengineering, solar radiation management, carbon dioxide removal. I mean, my God. They don't care about anything. Labeling, red dye number 5 and 6 and this and drugs and big pharma. But fluoride, oh, your teeth, by God. We got to have that fluoride in the water. Why? And there was a time in America when, we used to think to ourselves, this doesn't make any sense. What is the reason for this? What is possibly the reason why somebody would do this? Now, I've been asking this for the longest time. And when you talk about something, they say things like, this goes back to the John Birch Society, and they just say this. I say, but why is it there? I don't know. It's just good for you. I don't understand it. So Bobby Kennedy Jr. has once again stirred up the debate by speaking out against the fluoridation of America's public water supply. And predictably, the prototypical establishment is losing its mind. Critics immediately label this as some kind of a lunatic, again, conspiracy theory, because anything that's worth doing is a conspiracy theory. What is the purpose? Why? What is the story behind this? And they immediately labeled and called his stance as fringe and anti-science, of course, and dangerous. But take a step back, remove the media filter, and you'll find that his position is not only reasonable, it reflects a growing concern among medical professionals and environmental scientists and, dare I say, liberty-minded Americans who are simply fed up with this involuntary mass medication of people. Now let's start with the facts, okay? Fluoride is not some magical elixir. It's a chemical compound. It's often a byproduct of the phosphate fertilizer industry. Because, remember, the same people who scream and yell about canola oil and seed oils, they don't mind this at all. Okay, and it's added to drinking water with the stated intention, theoretically, of reducing tooth decay. All right, fine. Now, the practice began in the 1940s, and while it was hailed as a modern health miracle, the science was far less settled than the marketing suggestion. Now, over the decades, multiple studies have shown that the benefits of fluoride for dental health are largely topical, not systemic. In other words, fluoride toothpaste may help your teeth. Swallowing fluoride daily in your tap water, it's another story. Big difference. Big difference. And look what they always say. They always warn you. Don't swallow this. Don't swallow this. Don't swallow this. You go to the dentist. We're going to put some fluoride on you. Don't swallow it. You're putting it in my mouth and you're saying don't swallow it? I digress. So Bobby Kennedy is right to question why Americans are forced to ingest the substance without their explicit consent. Now, in most medical settings, patient consent is, for the most part, mandatory. So why is water fluoridation the exception? This is a matter of bodily autonomy, ladies and gentlemen. The government is making a one-size-fits-all health decision on your behalf, regardless of your health and your age and your health status or your personal beliefs. Bobby Kennedy is asking a basic constitutional question. Shouldn't people have the right to decide what goes into their bodies? Does that make sense to you? Now, the panic, as you can imagine from the pro-fluoride crowd, is telling. Instead of welcoming debate, they attack Kennedy, per usual, with name-calling and straw man arguments. Why? Because the actual science is mixed. A 2019 study in the journal JAMA Pediatrics, a journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA Pediatrics, linked prenatal fluoride exposure to lower IQ scores in children. The National Toxicology Program has also released reports raising concerns about neurotoxicity. These aren't conspiracy blogs or some wacky conspiracy theories. These are peer-reviewed studies. And the reaction isn't to the validity of the concerns, it's to the fact that someone of Bobby Kennedy's profile is daring to question the narratives. You see how this thing works? Now, it's also worth asking why the U.S. is one of the only developed nations still fluoridating its water. Now, most European countries either never started or stopped the practice long ago, citing either health concerns or ethical considerations, ethical issues, or lack of conclusive evidence. In Germany, France, Sweden, and other citizens are not subjected to this chemical in their drinking water. Are they all, anti-science too? Are they conspiracy theorists? Or are they simply exercising a level of caution that the U.S. has abandoned in favor of pharmaceutical convenience and bureaucratic inertia? Well, think about that very carefully. The irony is that Kennedy's position should appeal across the political spectrum. Now, conservatives who value limited government, more personal freedom, I think should applaud efforts to remove government-mandated additives. Think about this. Government-mandated additives from drinking water. And liberals and those who claim to support bodily autonomy and environmental safety should also be leading the charge. But instead, many are reacting for reasons I don't know with knee-jerk outrage because Kennedy dares to challenge sacred cows and convention. And it's Bobby Kennedy. And we're supposed to just hate Bobby Kennedy because he's, anti-science. Now, this is about more than fluoride. It's about transparency. It's about trust in public institutions. And it's about whether citizens have a say in policies that affect their daily lives. Look, fluoridation might have made sense decades ago when access to dental care was more limited. But today, with fluoride available in toothpaste and mouth rinses and dental treatments, the argument for mass medication through the water supply is just increasingly weak. If you think about it now, Bobby Kennedy, despite what you think, Bobby Kennedy is not demanding an immediate ban. He's calling for a reevaluation, a return to scientific rigor, to study, ethical debate, and informed consent. That's not radical. That's responsible. The reaction he's facing says more about the dogma of the current system than it does about the merits of his argument. Now, looking at this thing very carefully, Americans are waking up. Whether you like it or not, it's true. They're asking, what else is there in water and food and medicine and policies that they never agreed to? What are they spurring? What are we doing? What about being just immersed in Wi-Fi and radiation? They're demanding accountability. And in this environment, Kennedy's call to end water fluoridation isn't fringe, it's timely, it's courageous, and it's a debate that we need to have right now. Now look, whether you agree with him or not doesn't really matter. The right to question official narratives from anybody is what we're talking about. And to demand transparency is foundational and fundamental to any free society. The vitriol and the rancor aimed at Kennedy reveals just how threatened the establishment feels when someone dares to start pulling at the threads of long-standing policies. But that's exactly what leaders should do. Challenge assumptions over and over again. Ask tough questions, question authority, and defend the people's right to choose. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is doing just that. And for that, he deserves a seat at the table, not a smear campaign. So what do you think, dear friends? What's your take on this? Does this make sense to you? Have you been rather trepidatious regarding the notion of fluoridation? Put your thoughts and comments down. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. Make sure, subscribe. I've got some questions for you to consider as you comment as you see fit.